Good Wednesday evening, y'all. How the hell are you? Welcome on in. Y'all get comfy. Well, comfortable enough to talk about true crime. But welcome in. Thank you for coming in. If y'all don't mind, hit the like button on your way in. Let's get the story out there. Let's get true crime into the algorithm. Let's try to do that. We're here for some Siders updates, guys. I took yesterday off. I just relaxed. Was it yesterday I took off because I was live Monday night, Tuesday night? What is today? I said Wednesday. Y'all know me. Monday night. We were live Monday night. I took yesterday off. A lot of gratitude, touching grass, relaxing, doing all the things. Thank you, Forrest. We sounding good, looking good. We're coming through loud and clear. Yay. Took the day off to have a reset, y'all. I needed it after Monday night and stuff. So anyway, thank y'all for joining. And thanks for putting up with me while I was late. Y'all, I was like, so my grandson was out of town, but he's home now. So we've just been like chilling the last 2 days together. And Saturday, we did, hung out today and stuff. I took a shower a little while ago. Like, yeah, she took a shower, but I took a shower. And when I got out of the shower, I got this little shelf on the bathroom wall, of course, with something sitting up on it. Well, I flung my arm the wrong way and I hit it, and something fell off and busted into the bathroom floor. I was like, oh great. So yeah, had to get that cleaned up before somebody. My grandson uses my bathroom sometimes, so I had to get that shit cleaned up. We can't leave broken glass down with puppies and little ones running around. Hot as hell there, Kel. It is hot as hell here. It's Florida. I'm okay though. I hate winter with a passion. Nothing good comes of it. So I'll take summer every day, all day. But it is hot. But I know when to go out there and when to try to avoid it, right? I pick my poison, and my poison is winter. I'm a Florida girl through and through and a summer baby. Genuine. I cannot get it out of my system. In fact, this weekend, y'all, we have the fabulous Blue Angels. We are home to the Blue Angels here on the beautiful Gulf Coast, and it is their 80th anniversary. And this weekend is their air show. And we got a little cleansing palette video we can watch later, because you never know when you're out at the beach when they're going to fly over and surprise, surprise, out of nowhere. It happens all the time for us locals. It's a beautiful sight that we enjoy. And they fly right back across the water to the Navy base. So I'm just out there trying to enjoy my life, right? Cooking dinner and listening. What are you having, Katie? Something yummy? I had a light-ish early-ish dinner. And of course, I'm going to want to eat something really late tonight. I'm going to be like, oh my God, I want this. And I'm not a sweet eater. When it comes to snacks, I like other stuff. I crave food as my snacks, y'all. And I'm a tiny person. I don't know where it go. I don't know where I put it. But I'd be like, I don't want no piece of cake. Where's the nachos? I'm like, girl, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Stop it. You despise the winter too? Yeah. My brother and I are the same way. In fact, the other day I got tickled at him because I was thinking about it. It was so hot and everybody was complaining. I'm like, me, I know I love it. And I know he does. And he has to work in this shit, right? He's a contractor. And I go to Facebook, which I rarely do. And there, sure enough, he had a post about y'all can showing how the temperature was outside and everybody complaining. But he's like, I'm loving it. I'm like, yeah, I knew that was my brother. Faye, I know you feeling it. Same as this. Faye is the same way. Yes. Faye, it's been so nice and relaxing to sit. I spent so much time outside yesterday. It was just so peaceful. I barely turned on my phone and listened to anything. You know what I mean? And the few things I did listen to, I kind of got bored with pretty quick. So I was like, you know what? I just need to piddle around out here and do stuff in my yard and waste time. I like sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. That is my jams right there. Put me on a dock in front of some water. Fuck, I'm good. Leave me alone. It's my happy place. That is my peace. I want to get me a little water feature for the backyard so when I'm sitting out there, I have my wind chime, my birds, and some water in the background. Y'all know what I mean? That's soothing. You love the mornings, Kel Kel. It's so peaceful out there. And I'm in the middle of nowhere in the country, so I'm blessed and I know it. And I can just sit outside and hear the birds, the occasional vehicle, but not like in town where it's just people and sirens and cars and noise pollution, right? Mm-mm. Plant me out there in the middle of nowhere where there's no lights and no peoples. No lights and no peoples. And I'm a happy girl. I put in a request today to my daddy. Like, it's time to go fishing. I'm coming to see you. And we're getting out there in a boat. I got to get out there, man. I really like to go out in the river with my dad because I watch for the gators, right? I watch when I go out into the river. I love to fish, but I'll also put down my pole and just break out my camera and just start filming nature all around me. It's wild. I'll have to upload some of my videos and show you guys these Florida rivers. I showed it to some guys I used to hang out with in the Web3 world, and they're like, you're more of a man than me to get in that shit. I'm like, dude, I'm in a boat. What? We're in a boat. But okay, you do you. You northerner, you Rhode Islander. Bless his heart. All right. You have waterfalls. See, I love a good water feature in the yard, and I don't have one here. I've been here 4 years now. It's time to do something about all that. You're in the middle of nowhere too, Faye. I am now. For years, I wasn't. I was always in town or close out to the beach somewhere. I lived close to the beach for decades, but now I'm way up in the country, furthest from the beach than I've ever been, but I'm okay with it because it's not that far. You know what I mean? I, I, I got my peace. I'm happy. I'm a happy girl. All right. Y'all, there's a gag order imposed. Let's pull up. We got some documents to read. We got some stuff to catch up on in this case of the Siders case, and I just want to stay caught up with the major stuff going on because it's something we're following, right? Um, uh, the drama, the conflicts, and the pointing fingers and the family Facebook drama. That's every case, right? And I'm only going to take all that with a grain of salt. That to me, that is not. That's just family gossip, right? And we played it. If y'all didn't see the show the other night, we played a video from Elizabeth Sider's brother. We were up till 2 in the morning reviewing that damn video. We didn't even finish it all, but it's all the drama, and we don't know what out of it's true and what isn't, right? It's just somebody's wild ass opinion on a sister he hadn't seen in years, going on and on and on about their family trauma. So we'll unpack all that as it unpacks through the courts, right? We're trying to keep our facts and our fiction from separate. But there are some reports out there and different things because everybody's wondering, who did nobody ever have their eyes on these people, these children? What's going on here? Because we cannot wrap our heads around 16 kids no one knew about. All right, I just reviewed a case yesterday where these parents were charged with murder. Now I think it is their obese little boy passed away, and this poor kid, I mean, he was just one of two children in the home, right? Being homeschooled, apparently. Nobody's laying eyes on these children. It's like, how, this day and age, 2026, we can't let kids slip through the cracks anymore. We got unhinged adults out here raising these children. Have y'all seen the internet lately? Unhinged adults raising these babies. They fall back on society to look out for because their idiot ass mom and dads can't do it. They're too busy fucking around in drama and weird grown up shit and not focus on the babies. Like that weird lady on Alex's panel the other day. We should all be banned. Not Alex and them, but all of us, because we talk about stuff she don't want her niece and nephew to hear. Lady, that's on you, not me. That you fucking need to watch what your kids watch, not me. I know what my kids watch. See what I mean? It's just like when you see the level of the adults across the internet today, remember they're not all playing with full decks and they're all raising babies out there, y'all. So it can't be harder. It can't be too hard anymore to understand how some shit happens. But 16 kids nobody's ever laid eyes on. We all knew better, right? We all knew better. Well, you see that, Forrest? I figured you did. You, me, Rachel, Butterfly as well, but she's a little preoccupied lately. We're all kind of like, we always hone in on some of the same stuff, don't we? And Rachel, I dropped some more stuff in the Discord earlier for that one you and I were looking at, that other story. Yeah, I want to follow up on it for us with, whatever we hear about it. I hate sitting out to these I don't know if we can get away from covering cases where children are abused, y'all, because it's becoming more prevalent. Every time we turn around, there seems to be one now, when it was, fewer and far between that we heard about, I should say, that become high profile type cases. You know what I mean? Yeah, the having the kid after kid thing never makes sense. Well, it makes sense. Here's how it makes sense. Here's how it makes sense. You're poor, uneducated, and absolutely no condoms and birth control in the house. And it's obvious these two were producing like rabbits. We all know how it happens. I'm surprised her body was physically able to keep up with the demand. I'll be honest about that. But I know what was happening in that house. It wasn't nothing but some two people screwing constantly going on. I warned my boys what could happen if you don't wrap that shit up. I warned my girls. I have talks with my children and my young adults and teenagers. You may be uncomfortable for a minute, but you're about to hear it. You may not hear it anywhere else, but you're going to hear it from me. Wrap it up, baby. But that's how it gets there. That's how it happens. And there's no way to sugarcoat it in society anymore. Society needs to be ready to have real conversations instead of surface level conversations, right? I got reminded today in a chat, well, it's about the money. No, 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 not in this situation. Not this one, but the one we were talking about earlier. Nah, it goes well beyond for clicks and views for some bucks, right? There's a lot that goes into it. Surface level conversations should be done, in my opinion. Just like trying to say they were having all these babies to make bank. They're all drawing these checks. Where were they spending that money at, y'all? On their drugs? Where were they? They weren't buying food and cleaning products, right? With all that money they were making off all these babies. That's too simple of an explanation. That's Lori Vallow did it for the money. No, there's more to it, right? The surface conversations start to bore me after a while too, y'all. You taught your boys, Kel, right? You got to have each, you know what? And I always pointed out in every one of these damn cases that I cover, there's a red flag that you can actually have open up a conversation with your child about or your young adult. Idaho 4, 8-hour gap between a 911 call and I don't know what the fuck's happening in the house I live in situation. I talked to my 17-year-old boy at that point in time. First thing I asked him was, what do you think about this girl not calling for 8 hours? He looked dead at me, y'all, and he said, did she do it? I was like, no. Why didn't she call? I was like, let's have a talk about it. And we did. Y'all be surprised how smart your children are, right? Instead of running away from the conversations and pretending like you got to be this big bad. I promised myself at 17 I would never forget what it was like to be 17 if, big fat if, I ever became a parent. Because of the if, it was debatable. It was debatable. I wasn't sure I wanted all that responsibility, let's be honest. But I love them to death. I don't regret my decisions. But they're a big responsibility and my responsibility, right? So it's very hard for any of us to understand how all this is getting there. And this is a photo from the people are calling it the 12 by 12 room where they were kept. I think it was the bedroom they all shared. Honestly, of course, it's a small room where a bunch of kids were in. But because that house is so tiny and only had limited space to begin with, they had a living room, a kitchen. We got some other images out there, but this was that room. Look at the fucking holes in the walls and shit. I'm sorry. It's hard to get behind what the hell. Yeah, it's abuse. We see that. That's a no damn brainer. But how'd we get there? Is the mental health so rampant in this house between these two parents? I'm not talking about the old people, the parents of these children. I'm about to hold these two grown ass middle 30 adults, 30 something year old adults. allow this? What the fuck is wrong with them? If they ain't wackadoodle in the head and crazy, and I need to give them an out for all of this ongoing mental health issues that went unchecked for decades at the expense of their children. Or what the fuck caused these two 30 something year old people to do this and allow it for as long, and if it's not mental health, they're on drugs. I don't know what kind. It's hard to look at him and tell Gary don't look that unhealthy. Don't look like Gary's missing any meals, Junior. In fact, if y'all notice the photos that came out, Gary Siders Jr. looks the cleanest and the healthiest of all these people. Right, Jet? I feel you with that Virgo vibe you got going on there. I know I'm not a Virgo, but I know what you mean. My sister is. So I totally get that, Jet. All right. So before we get into some of the other stuff that I got here, we're going to look at this was a truancy complaint. Now, I think Brian Enton's talking about it now. A few other people are starting to talk about it. And one of the local news agencies got this. This was dated October 19, 2021, guys. Now, this is a different county than where they reside right now. Right, they're in Benton County. This was Gallia County. They lived in numerous counties in Ohio. So I bet you the moving around was because of this shit like this. I was like, what? How come they couldn't track them, couldn't follow them? Different school districts in different counties. I have 4 kids. I know how it rolls. I'm not going to hold the school responsible if they did try something. This is all I know so far. So I'm not going to hold anybody accountable yet. Because I don't know who to hold accountable yet, except for the fucking parents of these children. The undersigned duly appointed by Board of Education of Gallia County Local School District, Gallia County, Ohio, as their attendance officer for, and it's redacted, makes complaints that Gary Siders, the parent or guardian of, and it's redacted, a child of compulsory age residing in said school district and in charge of said child has failed to cause said child to attend some school or classes as required by law. The child has been absent from school without legitimate cause for the entire 2021-22 academic year to present, any amount in excess of 72 hours for the school year, and as such thereby a habitual truant. Prior to the filing of this complaint, the undersigned notified said parent or guardian that the child is not attending school or classes in violation of the law and required him to cause the said child to attend school. So they were notified, they still didn't, they ignored their notification they got from the school, and then they finally had to file in court with them. Now, Florida is the same thing. Your kids don't go to school, they will file truancy on you in a freaking heartbeat, and you're going to march your ass down to the courthouse and explain why your child ain't in school. Now, that was, what did I say the date on that was? October 2021 in Gallia County. This is also Gallia County, or Gallia, however you pronounce it. This one was filed January 7, 2022. In the matter of redacted, alleged unruly child. That is apparently the legal language they use for a truancy issue. The court finds that redacted is unable to be served at the whereabouts of redacted are unknown to the court. Their whereabouts are unknown to the court. Therefore, it is hereby the court order of the court that the above matter be terminated until the availability of redacted. Now, I don't know why a juvenile court wouldn't follow up on that. If the school is telling you, hey, we don't know where these people are and we know these kids are truant, maybe juvenile court should reevaluate how they handle stuff like this. Call for action. Want to make change? Make it. Ohio, other states. I don't know what to fucking tell y'all anymore. Get your shit together. Do I need to come run it? Adam Montgomery's daughter fell through the cracks multiple times. Little girl in Florida died under the state's watch. Nobody knew it for 2 fucking years. Forced change in Florida. We were outraged when we found that out. Again, maybe they should reconsider how they follow up on these types of reports, because I don't know what happened here with any follow ups. We don't have that information. I haven't found it yet or seen it. I'm just trying to bring y'all what we do find, right? And I spent quite a bit of time today trying to verify some of the stuff that I was hearing and seeing, and there was something I heard that it was a pastor, and it turns out it wasn't. It was from a food pantry director. But see, because I don't care who I hear it from. I just have to go verify if I can where it came from, how it came up, that. So I'm trying y'all to make sure we stay up on the facts. The case makes us all so mad, but it's so important on a social level, right? Because these aren't the Turpin children are an example. We thought, okay, is that it? I knew, right? I knew in my gut that could not be the only family of kids living out there like that. Look, now we got another family of kids living like that. It worse. If you could imagine worse than what the Turpins were living with, these kids lived in it based on the filth in the home. I'm concerned about how many more are out there living in these types of conditions when I see the types of parents out there. They're fucking all in some people's chats. Probably neglecting their children while they're raging for certain people to, act bad. Letting their children consume what they're consuming because they're sitting their ass on their phone watching it while the baby runs around the living room wishing it had something to eat, probably. I don't know. Speculation. Get something out of the fridge. There's a snack in the kitchen. I'm busy. I'm such an asshole tonight. Sorry, guys. All right, so let's look at the next document. Let me see what y'all are saying down here. Bingo. I'm not the only one, Kel. Thank you. Right, Faye? The thing about living out here in these rural areas, we fucking know when something's amiss, don't we? Come down our street. Come on. We're going to know it. And you're not going to just show up out here in the middle of nowhere on a whim. We're off the beaten path and far from the interstate 9 times. I know I am. You didn't just get off the interstate and stumble into my little community. Oh, hell no, you did not. You came in through Florida or Alabama, Bubba. Don't even try me. What are you doing on my street? Eyes are upon you. Yes, ma'am. Hey, if you learn nothing about true crime, you learn to know your damn surroundings, don't you? Even if I lived in a big city with a bunch of noise and people, y'all see my avatar picture peeking out the blinds? I didn't choose that by accident. That was deliberate. Oh goodness. Good neighbors are important. That's why it's scary to move, because you don't know what your neighbors are going to be like. Do they have a barking, annoying dog? Do they have rambunctious children that never be quiet? Do they fight themselves? What's going to happen? You can reach out and touch some of those houses, and I get it. Some people have to live in those types of neighborhoods and communities. I got family who do. It's just not for me, right? I don't want to know your business like that. I don't want to know your business, but if I see a house down the way that always looks a little odd to me when I pass by, I always look. What's going on in that house? If I had a neighbor across the field that may or may not have had 16 children, I think I'd have noticed something amiss. I'd wonder, why is there a pile of junk toys in the front yard? Do I got any kids down there? Let me get out my Zoom camera. I don't know, but that's. Your kids are your neighbors. Nice. No one took them up high when they moved in, Butterfly says. Well, apparently, things might have been clean when they moved in, Butterfly. We don't know when this all started. Apparently, according to these school records, these kids haven't been in school since at least the entire 2021-2022 year, at least one of them. Remember the other day, y'all, when we were discussing the case, I said, as old as some of these kids are, were there ever records on any of them going to school? Even the oldest group of kids, right? 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. Were they ever enrolled in a school at some point? They had to have been. If you look back at the old photos of Elizabeth, she didn't always look like she does now. I've seen photos of her with some of those babies. They looked normal, y'all. I don't know when this mess started or why. Okay. I need to pull this up on my phone as well so I can read it to you guys because that's a little too little and I don't have the actual document. This is from True Crime. What is her name again? True Crime Mama. Y'all know how they like to slap their watermarks on public documents. Appreciate you getting them, ma'am, but that's really unnecessary. I would have said, hey, I got these via True Crime Mama, but I understand not everybody's willing to do that. That's why Plunder does it to this day. I was there when somebody went live with one of her videos and claimed they got it themselves from the Orange County Jail. La, 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 la. No, you fucking did not. That's Plunder's video that I just sent you the link to, Bubba. Dumbasses. All right. So this is State of Ohio versus Gary Siders Jr. Now we know he had the 4 counts, right, of the indecent exposure that we are like baffled about because that shit was sealed and multiple agencies and investigators from the Bureau signing off. Like, what the hell's going on with this indecent exposure bullshit? Why is it so secretive, right? What's actually going on there? All right, so now comes this. This was filed July 14th, which was yesterday. Okay. So Siders now has his public defender, right? Now comes the defendant, Gary Siders Jr., by and through his undersigned counsel, who respectively requests that his court issue a gag order, that this court issue a gag order to protect defendants' rights in a fair, to a fair trial, as guaranteed by Sixth Amendment to the United States and the Constitution. You know, they did that in the beginning of the Idaho 4 case, and actually the defense attorneys wanted to slap that gag order in motion. Everybody blames the prosecution, but it was legitimately Ann Taylor who initiated it and got it. Because, you know, you don't want all that bad information about your client coming out pre-trial. That's bad. Ask Casey Anthony if it even mattered in the end. Oh, wait, it didn't. That's right. But y'all go ahead with your gag orders. Go right ahead. Florida's like, what the fuck are y'all doing? And it's not Florida's fault the prosecution fucked up the Casey Anthony case. Y'all can directly blame the prosecutor in that case, okay? So if you that, I guess that could be the state. The presumption of openness may be overcome by only an overriding interest based on findings that closure is essential to preserve higher values and is narrowly tailored to serve that interest. And they cite a Supreme Court case there. Pervasive, unfair, and prejudicial media coverage of a criminal trial may jeopardize the accused's right to a fair trial, guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment of the United States. And of course, they're going to cite cases. Therefore, courts have a duty to protect criminal defendants from inherently prejudicial publicity that renders a jury's deliberation unfair. And actually, if you think about that, I guess that would protect the victim in the long run because they won't get. We don't want to get them defendants treated unfairly because it sidetracks everything and becomes about the defendant and his rights at that point. So I guess if we protect his, we are also protecting the victims. Huh. See, I'd be arguing myself about that later because I don't like these gag orders. A gag order based on the need to protect the accused's right to a fair trial may issue only if specified findings are made demonstrating that first, there is a substantial probability that the defendant's right to a fair trial will be prejudiced by that publicity. Now, we saw gag order fights in Delphi. We saw gag order battles in Idaho 4. We've seen it in numerous cases. So regardless of what some retired officers will tell you, cops, oh my God, a gag order. Have you ever heard of such? Let them know gently, yes, we have. Welcome to true crime. In my experience and training. Now, this was the conclusion of the document. On July 1, 2026, Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson published a news release on the Ohio Attorney General's website. In the news release, there are several inflammatory statements that can impact defendants' right to a fair trial, such as, he says, this case continues to reveal the unimaginable conditions these children were forced to endure. I said yesterday that the investigators encountered was pure evil. That statement alone, pure evil, was enough to get the defense triggered. And the evidence we've uncovered, since only reinforced the assessments A.G. Wilson said. Emphasis were added. The conditions these children lived in were horrific, and we are sickened by it. Fortunately, the tragic chapter has closed, but recovery will take time, Sheriff Kane said. These public officials were also quoted in numerous other national publications making additional inflammatory statements that will unduly influence the potential juror, such as, they said, most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children, said Benton County Sheriff Ryan King. Just a disgusting scene. They looked like almost feral animals, Wilson said. It was terrible. Y'all remember those statements? Benton County Sheriff Ryan King. And when they said them, I knew from experience that might come back and bite you in the ass later. I need to start getting more vocal when I see those things and say, we're not so fast. Benton County Sheriff, and I'll say that because it happened in Delphi too, with a public release by, I think it was it the defense that triggered the prosecutor so bad they ran out and screened for gag. Yeah, they got big mad. Yeah, you're gonna talk shit. I'm gonna talk shit. What if we're just gonna fucking slap a gag order on it all? I was a judge. I don't know. I'll be like, y'all all shut your damn mouth and bring me your fucking motions. Jesus. And turn over your evidence to each other. Quit playing games. Hire some extra help for all them terabytes you're about to get dumped in your lap. You're going to complain to me about in about a month in a hearing. How's that for training and experience? Benton County Sheriff called the home disgusting, saying it was littered with human feces. Well, it was. He believes the children were being kept in a 12 by 12 room for nearly 4 years, where that was where they lived, in that little room all together. So yeah, some of these children couldn't even speak. Well, probably not going to school. I doubt mama and daddy were actually playing the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and do you know your colors and shapes and all the things with them. I doubt it. We don't even know the mental capacity of some of these children when they were born, if any of them were ever on spectrums, other conditions that we just don't know about, like handicaps, right, that would have caused developmental delays. And of course, they never got the therapies needed. So it doesn't. I'm not shocked some of these kids couldn't speak. I realize they're not deaf, dumb, and mute. I realize they may have medical conditions. They were born back to back to back to back to an unhealthy mother. It's not rocket science. It shouldn't be. Some of them can't even speak. Wilson called the scene the worst he had ever encountered. Now, I can't blame these prosecutors for coming out and expressing what they saw. But damn, enough to trigger a gag order, and the judge agreed. We'll get to that. The judge did agree, by the way. Wilson said it was I don't have the document yet, but it happened. Wilson said it was a good thing law enforcement discovered the children when they did, calling it an unimaginable case of interfamilial child abuse. I think they would have waited another 24 hours. There were a high probability that we've been dealing with a death or deaths of these children. Now, we know that a couple of these kids were life flighted, and we don't know the actual condition, but they were bad enough to go. When you see the conditions of the home, you know these children were not healthy. It's just, there were bugs and stuff. Yuck, it was everything. They couldn't have been healthy. I wonder how close they really were to death, and to think about what would have happened if that had actually occurred in that home and nobody still knew those kids were in there. If they hadn't have been there investigating Gary Jr. for his 4 indecent exposures, they wouldn't have known the kids were there yet, y'all. They said they weren't there because of those kids. something totally different. The statements have resulted in substantial probability that the defendant's right to a fair trial will be prejudiced by publicity, and a gag order can prevent further damaging statements. So they really want the gag order because they want the prosecutors and the people that witnessed everything to shut up. But you know what? That defense attorney for Elizabeth Siders went into damage control almost immediately and was making the rounds to combat these statements that they were putting out. Right? But now there's a gag order. That's not in her case. That's only in Siders Jr.'s case. So if there's not going to be one in Elizabeth's case, if they're all going to be tried separately, the grand jury hasn't returned indictments yet. We don't know how this is going to play out in the end. So he's not under the gag order, then, is he? I'll have to wait. We'll have to get that order and see. But if this is just for Gary and his attorneys and people, which his attorney hasn't made no statements anyway, I don't believe. It's just been Elizabeth's, and I think Siders Senior's attorney may have spoke somewhere. I'm not 100% positive. There are no other reasonable alternatives available to adequately protect his rights to a fair trial. The gag order is the only mechanism. I don't know, guys. What do y'all think? What are y'all's thoughts on these gag orders? Do you think it really impacts the cases to the point where a jury can't walk in there and be completely fair? Because here's the thing. I sat through Casey Anthony's 2 years nonstop coverage prior to trial. Me and Nancy Grace and millions of others, I guess, I don't know what our numbers were back then. We watched it every single night after night after night after night after night. We saw every single jailhouse call between her and her mama and daddy pre-trial. We saw all the videos of her lying little ass taking them into Universal Studios where she claimed her office was, and got all the way to the fucking door and said, I lied to y'all, I don't really work here. We saw all of it, y'all. But that judge gave very specific jury instructions, and the defense unfortunately brought it, and the prosecution failed miserably. All of that pretrial publicity, they wouldn't even change the venue. We didn't get a change of venue, or she didn't, I should say. She didn't get a gag order. She didn't get no cover up on that pretrial. This is Florida, the Sunshine State. We got sunshine laws. We got the best in the country. What you want today, we'll give it to you. That's how good it is. And we saw it all with Casey Anthony. And she walked. We all know the turnout. So how much does pre-trial publicity affect? Now, that was a long time ago, right? And there was no social media back then. It was just Nancy Grace over there on the HLN, Headline News, CNN. There was like 3 or 4 shows back to back about crime and shit. It was the place to be. Trust me, I had little ones. I had nothing better to do. Take care of my babies, clean my house, do my chores, all the things. Sit down at night and watch this crime shit with Nancy Grace. And them other ladies, I can't remember their names though, so they must not have been that. Well, actually, a few of them people I still see now. Profilers and such that are popular now. I saw all of them back in the day on Nancy Grace. You don't see how it changes anything. The only thing that's going to change is like the jury pool. Does it affect juries, right? Do you have a preconceived notion? Because here's the thing, with all that pretrial publicity of Casey Anthony's, I kept a very open mind all the way through the entire trial. And I knew halfway through, I accepted it, she was going to walk. I didn't have a dog in that hunt, and I wasn't going to let it eat my life up for the rest of my life, but she was going to walk. It was obvious to me. I told my husband she's going to fucking walk. He said, nah, she'll never walk. I said, she's walking out that door. A free woman, because that attorney just brought the business. Sorry. Now, Idaho 4, with as much as I consumed about that case and every rabbit hole I went down, I was ready to walk into that trial completely open-minded and hear Ann Taylor and her experts out. Open-minded, y'all. I promise. But I don't know if everybody can do that. Ann Taylor might have changed my mind during that trial. I don't know. When I'm unpacking, she probably wouldn't have. And let me say that. And we'll be getting to that soon. So I don't know how. So Gary Siders Jr. Now, was this covering just the for charges, y'all? That's what I don't know, right? Or is it covering just this the child abuse neglect charges that they have on them right now until this grand jury business takes place? Um, but it's wild that he would seek a gag order for his charges and the child neglect charges and whatever, but Elizabeth hasn't got asked for one yet. So I don't know. We'll see if her attorney asks for one or not. Jurors are watching social media as well. But when you go for jury selection, you're asked all those questions, right? And we all know if we followed Idaho 4, Ann Taylor made a big ass deal about jury selection questions and questionnaires she wanted to mail out to all the people. And I kind of made fun of her at the time, but I understood exactly what she was trying to do. Her delivery didn't cut it with the judge. It did to an extent, because it's relatively new type research, right? There's a lot of things about Idaho 4 that would have set precedents, but it really is an issue because I don't know if society can handle a lot of pretrial stuff, get called for jury duty, and go be honest about what they know and don't know. Right? We got case inserters everywhere. We got jury shit. Letitia Stalk and Alex Murdaugh, jury. I mean, it's a slippery slope if we want strong convictions based on merit, fair trials without appeals, right? It is a slippery slope. Ann Taylor was annoying, Kel, but bless her heart, she tried hard. I was here for some of it. Like, okay, little engine that could, let's go. I gave her grace each and every time. Well, almost with every filing. I read them all. Almost. Some I laughed at. Oh, wow, that's a nice try. We'll unpack some of that as we're moving through the new unsealed documents, because I will be going over the expert witness stuff in the Idaho 4 case. And I know that Turby has already done an interview over on Custody Queens, which reminds me, they got one coming up with Cy Ray. My notification is on. Why is it important to me, and why do I care, and why do I want to know? Because they were the ones that were going to be brought up in trial, the defense expert witnesses, right? It would have mattered. Would it have swayed a jury? That's where my mind goes, right? Not with all those blooming ass idiots, witnesses paid for by, well, fuck, the prosecutor's witnesses are paid for too, y'all. Not just defense witnesses. I don't base it on the fact they're just paid for. That surface level, of course they're paid for by both sides, duh. But which one am I going to believe when I walk into there and sit down in that jury box? That's a different story. That's deeper, in my opinion. So I want to unpack that. We should do it tomorrow ahead of Cy Ray's little interview coming up. Remember, the Judge Hippler called him a conspiracy theorist. I was like, ouch, Judge. Dude, if Kohberger ever appeals, will that bite you in the ass one day? But luckily for him, Kohberger took the plea deal. Anyway, wasn't a very nice comment by a judge, was it? Calling the defense expert a conspiracy theorist. All right, I'm going to get completely sidetracked. Let's stop it. All right. Y'all got me. Stop it. Let me look at y'all for a minute because y'all make me laugh. We have to lighten up with these cases. There's so much, right? Idaho and Delphi are very different for me, respectfully. They are Kel too. I've explained the differences between the cases 1,000 ways to Sunday. And I explained the commonality of the cases 1,000 ways to Sunday. Trust me, I was in deep with both cases. Rick Allen was arrested 1 month before Bryan Kohberger, sent straight to prison, while Kohberger gets to go down to the basement jail in his little vegan meals and accommodated for and kept all pretty nice and neat for eternity, while Rick Allen's still rotting in hell in a prison. I know every detail about both cases, but there's some similarities. And one big similarity is the fuckery in each case with the creators. Look at it in Guthrie. Look at it in Sebastian Rogers. You can't turn on the YouTubes and not see it. Just friendly reminder, every case will have that happen. Bet. And I don't want no part of that shit. I'm here to cover some true crime in cases and try to shed light on what these idiots do and how horrible they are and these victims get treated. It's crazy. We don't want to wrap our heads around that society can do shit to each other, right? And to do people. That's a heavy conversation. But I don't want to get caught up in all that other crap, you know, but they are different, but they have similarities. So you're right. Okay. So we had the truancy complaints. We went over that, and we don't know much more about that on the follow-up yet. I'll keep my eye out on reports about that and see if any of these other agents. There's that one reporter who's local. She's big mad right now because there is a gag order in place as of now, and she's like, I've got dozens of FOIA requests out. She was letting them, but she's with that Sinclair channel that likes to say, oh, you can't play our shit. So I just got to report what she said. WSYX ABC6 on X. Or not X, YouTube. WSYX ABC6, Sinclair Broadcasting Media. Don't like it when you share their news clip. So whatever. Okay, so let me see. I have a different news clip. Hope they don't get me. Lord help us. What have we come to in this world? Okay, when did this air? Let's see. This is a local yesterday. Okay. Well, it says yesterday. It might have been this morning. Get my screen together here, guys. There we go. All right.
Today marks 2 weeks since 16 children were removed from a Vinton County home. 4 adults are charged with child endangerment, including Gary Siders Sr., Gary Siders Jr., Christina Siders, and Elizabeth Siders. We've been following this story since day one when Attorney General Andy Wilson and other investigators described the conditions inside the home as deplorable.
Here is some of what they said 2 weeks ago about it.
This is pure evil. Most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children.
Those comments are now under scrutiny in court and have led to a gag order in this case.
10 TV's Carla Rogner joins us in studio now. And Carla, what will this mean for the case going forward?
Yeah, the attorney for Gary Siders Jr., he's the father of those children, asked the judge for this gag order, saying that public comments from authorities could influence public opinion and jeopardize the family members' right to a fair trial. The judge agreed, and now attorneys, law enforcement, and others are prohibited from making public statements about this case.
This is pure evil. What we saw down here today is pure evil.
That is one of the comments made by Attorney General Andy Wilson that triggered this gag order. Arlie Roberts, who's representing Gary Siders Jr., wrote in his motion that the comments made by authorities could impact Siders' right to a fair trial. He wrote the descriptions of the children that have been issued by the public officials involved in this case seek to do nothing other than inflame the heart and passion of the potential jurors. We have previously heard similar concerns from the attorneys representing Elizabeth and Gary Sr.
You have sort of the state apparatus attempting to, in some ways, try this case in the court of public opinion, using hyperbolic and extreme language to describe this without, again, allowing us to even have an opportunity to view any of the evidence ahead of time.
The judge approved this gag order, agreeing that public comments could impact the ability to find an impartial jury. With this gag order in place, prosecutors, law enforcement, court officials, and defense attorneys will have to stay quiet.
And I did briefly talk to the prosecutor yesterday. He said we can expect an update on the grand jury indictments for the Siders family members within a few weeks. Back to you.
Within a few weeks, right? They expect to have something on the grand jury. Now, we heard their grand jury meets every other month. It's like a tiny town, America. We don't hardly ever meet, whatever. So I guess they'll figure out their grand jury thing. Yeah, Anjanette's been around a long time. I don't watch her like on the regular. I don't. I know she's cover. I know she's in Ohio. I know where she is and all that. I just haven't looked at anything she's done. So if it's different than what I know, or Rachel, if you see something I haven't covered, then she's got it. You let me know, because I don't know that I'll get to watching it, because I got a lot that I try to look through a lot. So if I miss something, let me know. If she's got any different records. But that one investigative reporter from that's local, she's been on it. She's the one that's got a lot of the documents so far that they could find. A lot of the information that she talks about, right? She's got a lot of good information, actually. So I don't know what Anjanette has yet. It seems like a lot of people have a lot of the same stuff, and we're all getting, Lauren Conlin on X is also bringing some business. We'll get to that in just a second. Now, there is video circulating from inside the home, guys. And of course, everybody is like, oh, AI, all this stuff. There's also a local news report to go along with this about trespassing, because people have apparently been going into the home and filming it. And it is the home, it's not AI. I've done a lot of research on this today. Looked at a lot of different things to try to make sure, right? I'm like, I'm not a part of that shit. Now, this video is slowed down so you can see the conditions better. And I'm only doing this because I don't know about these parents. Now, here's what everybody's kind of speculating. When I say everybody, I mean some people on social media. There's a report out there that Senior and Christina, Gary Senior and Christina, weren't always like this. They were once well kept and clean and did not smell. I don't know when the last time was people stopped seeing those two people in that condition. And I'm also starting to wonder, because they had, was it 4 daughters, or at least 3, and then Gary, Christina, and Senior. He was the baby. He was spoiled. Could do no wrong from what I heard. I don't know where these daughters are now. We've heard tale of them and this and that, and helping with water bills and a car and such, taking a photo on the front porch, letting the other family know when a new kid was born. But how often do these daughters go to their mom and daddy's house and check on them with their crazy brother allegedly living there with all his wife and all those kids? Who is doing the majority of taking care of those children? And Elizabeth, all the time, ever since the very beginning, since he married her when she was 15. What was he, 18? Have the Siders, and I'm just speculating, I'm asking questions. Let's pretend they're not guilty of anything right at the moment. We don't know what's happened, right? We have no clue. Were they the ones that took care of everything? Financially, the kids, whatever, and Gary just did whatever whatever the fuck Gary, well, we know what Gary Jr. was doing, getting it on with his lady. Was his lady just doing the best she could, trying to take care of all them babies he was making her have, and that mama and daddy, the grandparents, were doing all the things, right? And then one day they get sick or start to decline. It's to the point where they can't even do for themselves hardly anymore, or go out anymore and make it happen, or go out and get the things. And now they become abused, or neglected, I should say, as well as the children, because grandpa took care of the kids. I'm just, for shits and giggles, let's see if that's, we don't know what happens yet, y'all. I'm not willing to let, social media influence tell me what happened, because I don't know what happened. None of us do. Did that start to happen? I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get there to find out, unless some of those kids can communicate properly. At least, apparently some of them did. If they had phones and some social media accounts, these kids, some of them older ones that went to school for a little while, they know how to talk. I wonder what those kids who can speak, who had the social media accounts, have told investigators about their home life. Have they given any insight to when and how this started and who was actually doing what within the home? You know what I mean? That's what I'm wondering right now. Faye, you know what I'm talking about then? It's so easy in surface level, in my opinion, right now, to go, oh my God, they're all four they are nasty. Come on, it is what it is. But how it got there, we're all four of these crazy dingbat people living in this. Like, no, wait, brakes on for a moment, right? We were hearing things. One may have dementia. One's this, one's that. Gary Sr.'s in the hospital. I'm not giving him an out, guys. I'm not. But I think I need to be fair and ask the legitimate questions, because we don't know a damn thing. The truth will come out. I just think it's going to take a minute to untangle all of it, right? Because these kids have to be handled in a way. They're fractured. They're come on. They got to be scared. They may be happy as little clams, right? Finally, a bath, food. Shit, they could be really happy right now. Some are probably in dire need of a lot of attention and medical attention and therapies, right? It's not easy to come out of that lifestyle and be thrown into a totally different lifestyle. The Turpin kids went through that. It was like, whoa, a little shock. Little shocker. Okay, so well, who is this account again? That criminally obsessed video. I'm only going to play a short from that channel because turns out she's part of the Sinclair Broadcasting Network and she's I forget what her title actually is. She's been around for decades too, but I just don't remember her title. They all got one. But she's part of the Sinclair group, so as a podcaster on YouTube, go figure, a media group. But okay, you do you, girlfriend. Y'all got to make that money somehow. I get it. But the Sinclair don't like YouTubers playing their... Okay. The first video I have loaded up back here is my palette cleanser video. And the minute it starts, it just reminds me to go, take a breath. Okay. Yeah, culture shock. Right? Okay. This is more of, remember the Dollar General employee that saw things? She says a little bit more everywhere she goes, apparently. It'd be nice if somebody had a full-length sit-down interview with her. But they haven't. That I know of. I could be wrong. Anne might have gotten a whole video interview with her. I don't know. I haven't checked. All right, here we go. Now, we've heard some of this before a little bit about what she has said, but I was going to play this to give, because then we're going to look at the video and then the news media report about what they said, okay? Here we do this one. Let's go.
I would have to Lysol before they came in, Lysol while they were in the store, and Lysol while they left the store. That's how bad the odor was.
Take me through when you saw the Siders. Did you see them walking or did you see them driving?
I never saw them with kids, but only twice in the 2 years. I never saw them with the older Christina and Gary Sr. I never saw them four together. So when I saw their faces, one of the mugshots, I was just like, what?
Right.
They're all together? They're related? Like I didn't think they were together, because the older couple, when I did see them, and it wasn't all the time, it was a handful of times, they were clean. They were dressed nice. They didn't stink. They didn't have an odor. And when I saw Gary and Elizabeth, let's just say I would have to Lysol before they came in, Lysol while they were in the store, and Lysol while they left the store. That's how bad the odor was.
Now, what in the hell would cause Junior and Elizabeth to want to be like that? Like both of them. And that's nasty and stink up the whole store, and they got to spray the whole store down with a Lysol. Oh my God. It's just, I don't get it yet. Random old lady. I love that name. Oh my God. We could be friends. Thank you. We try to be fair. Of course, we speculate, right? We're going to, but also got to try to be fair. We got to put the brakes on at times. All right. So I'm going to play this video, guys, of Inside the Home. Y'all just, the banner's up. It's disgusting. The inside is horrible. And I've slowed it down enough where you could see it. Then I'm going to play the video from the local news media about, I guess, people have entered that home. And these videos are over on Facebook. Y'all know the place. All right. Let me. Oops. Okay. It's just hard to imagine really how it got there. And remember when we all saw what we thought were pantry food boxes sitting around that house piled up? Remember though, those of us were having that conversation about all the boxes and we thought that could be food pantry boxes. I think we were all right. And we got some information about that. So I'll share that in a minute. But yeah, that's what those boxes appeared to be, were food pantry boxes thrown about all over that house. Because Gary Jr. wasn't about to get an actual job and support all those babies he's fathering. No, we got to go to the food pantry every time we turn around and get another box of food because we got a whole bunch of mouths to feed. If you're struggling and you got a child to feed, get your butt to the food bank. But don't be a Gary Jr., right? That takes away from the people who legit need the help. What if you got a struggling mom or dad, single or couple? Maybe dad got injured and can't go to work for a month. What happens? Don't ever say not me. You're not guaranteed what tomorrow holds for you. Bet. You don't know when you're going to find yourself needing that food pantry. But you don't want these Gary Juniors fathering all these babies and not going to work to support their asses. Not their asses, his ass should go to work to support the babies. All right, there's no sound, guys, because I didn't want to. But you could see the bugs and the layers. Okay, it's not just like filth thrown about. It's layered, y'all. It's just layers and layers. Years and years of it have been gone. All these milk crates, they were getting something in those milk crates, guaranteed, probably from the churches. See, they're walking in going, hello. There's just no sound. I didn't want to put the sound up. And I slowed it down. That's the room they were all, that's that living room. But you can just see the layers, right, of how bad that it is. And Jesus Christ, trying to figure out how that happened, how it got there, and how nobody damn well knew. I think people had ideas, people had concerns. Even that Dollar General girl's like, looking back, I wish I had been more nosy. I wish I had been more this. Sometimes we're taught not to be nosy and mind your business. Some of us can't turn away when we see a child being neglected, which just bothers the shit out of us, and some of us may act upon it. It's hard to just sit back and be that judgment person, right? Is easy. We don't know until we're in that position. But I think a lot of us, if you're like me, you know you, right? You know what sometimes you're going to do certain things in certain situations. You just know it. All right, now this video clip, all right, here's the one about what the local media and the sheriff, I think it was, has weighed in on these videos that were circulating. They're going to take the trespassing seriously. Okay, well, I think it's been done already. But okay.
Children rescued from a home in Hamden. The attention on this case has brought forward concerns about trespassing on that property in Vinton County.
And videos have been circulating as well as pictures on social media.
Oh, random old lady, welcome to Lead Investigator. Thank you and welcome in. You donate. That's why I donate to our food bank, right? I've helped out at stuff like that. I knew those boxes the second I saw them. right? The church pantry is huge. I knew those boxes. Jesus.
Media that appear to show the inside of the home. None of these images are coming from official sources. 10 TV's Carla Rogner is back in Vinton.
Hey, Simi, don't be knocking the Dollar General. That's all I got in my one-horse town. And I'm lucky they got what I need.
County Force tonight. Looking into these concerns, Carla, what have you learned?
Yeah, well, you really can't get a good view of the inside of the home from where we're standing here. You'd have to cross this yellow police tape and go try to peek into one of the windows, but that would be considered trespassing. The prosecutor said he is aware of videos that appear to show people possibly doing that, and he's looking into it.
It's a dead-end street, but over the past 2 weeks, Omer Street has seen a steady stream of traffic.
I just wanted to do something with my feelings since it was so close. So here we are.
It just really is so sad.
Jessica and her family are some of the many people driving by to see the home for themselves, where authorities say 16 children were living in deplorable conditions. The parents, Elizabeth and Gary Siders Jr., and his parents, Christina and Gary Sr., are all charged with child endangerment.
Really, I've just been following the story since it unfolded, and it's just really hard to understand how things get this way.
However, the prosecutor in Vinton County is aware that some people may be doing more than taking a quick look.
People who are going onto Omer Street need to be aware it's potentially a trespassing charge, and it could be a more serious obstruction charge. So the best advice is stay off the property if you don't have permission from the owner to be there.
And your office is looking into these videos?
We are investigating potentially who has been going on the property, yes.
Uh-oh. People are curious, though. I mean, though. Oh, I would have known if I go on that property, it's going to be private. Do I sneak on or not? Do I sneak in there, y'all, with my flashlight? What do I do? I probably might have, would have. I don't know. But I don't know if I'd have posted it online. Jesus Christ, they could find out. I don't think I would have went there.
Archer would not confirm the authenticity of videos we showed him and said his office cannot share images from the inside as this investigation is ongoing.
There's a lot of AI stuff still going on out there, so we're still trying to sort out how much of this is real.
So are we half the time. What's real and what's not.
Yeah, so I did ask the prosecutor if we can expect an update in this case soon. He said not this week, maybe soon after. As a reminder, we're waiting right now to see if a grand jury will indict the 4 Siders family members on these charges.
Well, there's a gag order now for Junior, and the prosecutor's like, oh, no update this week, maybe next. Waiting on that grand jury. If your case is strong, go for it. They waived their right to the probable cause. They could have took them straight to trial. Right? If I got that wrong. So just like in Idaho 4, we had a prelim hearing set, and we were like, yes, we're going to get to hear some of this preliminary evidence on this dude. See what's going on here. We're hearing about. Boom, last minute, the prelims canceled, grand jury indictment. We're like, what the fuck? You've already charged him and arrested him. Why we need all that going on for? Nobody wanted to go have that prelim and be seen on TV. Nobody wanted to go have that prelim and all that evidence preliminary talked about. Oh, Lordy. Okay, so now they're going to wait on a grand jury indictment. They can indict a ham sandwich, right? So do we have little probable cause? Do we just have child neglect charges? Living in squalor type conditions with not enough food and adequate shelter and cleanliness? Do we really have physical abuse or SA? Or just child neglect, neglecting their family, neglecting their duties as parents to feed them, bathe them, clothe them, put them in school? I wonder. We can't get to SA if we don't see signs or proof of SA ever occurring. And when I say that, there'll be physical proof on the children that it occurred. Tortured, tied up, there would be proof. We'd see chains. We'd see the bruising, healed, old, new. What will the older children be able to say? Will they deny any physical abuse ever took place? I was never beat by my parents. Will they deny any SA ever occurred? Just we didn't have food and we didn't have baths and we didn't have. That's what I wonder, y'all. Which that's all bad enough, right? That is horrific. That's horrific all by itself. I hope they were not physically abused. I pray they were not SA'd. I pray that it stopped at neglecting their basic care. No, we don't know. From what we heard, they are not collecting any money on all these kids or any of the children yet. Nobody's uncovered that yet. All we know that they weren't even receiving benefits. It was just the elders, the seniors, Granny and Pawpaw were both on benefits, and the bills in the house were in Grandma's name. Apparently, Gary did nothing his entire life but knock up the girl from next door. Fucking bastard. What the hell's going on in this house? Okay. There was other report out there that this came from a guy who was a pantry coordinator at the local food pantry there in town, and it wasn't affiliated with one of the churches. It was reported that it was, but once upon further investigation, turns out no, that's not actually true. They were just the ones who held the vigil. But this is a guy called Charlie, and I won't name his last name, but he was a pantry coordinator, and he said that Christina Siders, or AKA Lynn, as some call her, the grandmother to all the children, would come into the food pantry weekly for the past 2 years. And sometimes she would come in with the two teenage girls, he said. They would not speak. They kind of looked distant, and they would whisper to Christina. That's all he ever knew of those children. They would give her meat, produce, veggies, bread, pasta, things of that nature that, the pantries give, and she would take as much as she could. And I believe they noted that she said she had 16 kids, but they didn't require proof at that pantry to, because people online are like, oh, if they're going to pantries, they got to give proof. Not with every pantry you go to. You do not. They're here to do the Lord's work, not accuse you of lying right off the bat. They're just, you tell me you got 16 kids to feed, let me load you up. That's how it works most of the time. So they were attending some of these food pantries locally. And there was another one that said that Elizabeth, it was some kind of like for pregnant moms, and she would get stuff from there occasionally. Like, of course, she needed it all the time. She was having new babies. You would think she had a nursery set up in the corner somewhere. I don't know where these new babies were being cared for at. Now, the state of Ohio has set aside now $1 million in funds to take care of these children, earmarked for their care, and it's coming out of the Ohio state budget. I forget the actual program they're going to pull it from, the resources from. It's like an emergency fund they have set up. It's going to be coming out of there. Now, we've heard the rumors about Elizabeth being pregnant, right? Still can't confirm it. But Lauren Conlon saw something that I have not seen yet. Did not deep dive it over on the Facebook. I'm going to take Lauren's word that it's out there. But it's still not a confirmation of anything. There's been a lot said out there on Facebook, and I haven't seen all of the posts coming out of Facebook, all the comments. But I had heard this happen, but I wasn't positive, and then I saw her talk about it. So I was like, okay, we'll go over that. Let me pull up the timestamp actually. Let's see. Okay. Da, da, da. Okay. Here she goes. She's going to lead into it here. This is Lauren Conlon, guys, from LA Magazine. I follow her on X too for a lot of good updates as well. Yeah, she's pretty reliable, Simi. She hasn't done me wrong yet, right? I wouldn't even, say it. I wouldn't say I rely on her if I didn't know I could or feel like I could. So, yeah.
Bond lowered, saying, she deserves to be out. The children are in foster homes, so, the victims are safe, so let her out. Also, at the same time, and I had reported on this last week, there are rumors going around that she is pregnant with the baby girl. And this is from a Facebook post, actually, that the alleged foster mom, who had two of her older daughters, or two of her daughters, had stated that the kids actually told her.
See, apparently a foster mother of two of the daughters have told her Elizabeth's pregnant with a baby girl. Okay, if that's true, why is the foster mother? I mean, I guess it's not what she probably didn't think about it. She's in the group, she's PR on Facebook, wherever she was talking. I don't know why she would be talking if you're taking care of these babies, but she did apparently. And she says that two of those daughters confirmed Elizabeth's pregnant right now. Wouldn't surprise me nor shock me, but we still have no confirmation of that anywhere. But I would not be shocked if it turns out that she absolutely is, right? Considering her history and all that. So thank you, Lauren, for tracking down that post, because it's hard to keep up with all of them. In fact, I've decided not to even look at anything the family's doing anymore. We've been there, done that. Ooh, let's put the brakes on that. We're going to try to stick to the facts as we know them now. we unearthed the other stuff. Okay, not unless something major comes up of all that. So that was the latest report about the pregnancy rumor that I could find. Now, Lauren, let me pull up her ex, because we all heard rumors about the DoorDash employment with Gary. She reached out to DoorDash and got a comment, apparently. So let me go to her ex account for that and bring it up. Okay. She also said she's going to be going to David's prelim hearing, guys, and that will not be televised. So I'm thinking we're going to have to follow her reporting on that. Her and her partner, she's in New York. Her partner's out there in LA. Well, not her partner, but a colleague. And so when Lauren has been out there, she goes out there and does her thing. But the other girl has always been the one at the hearings that I follow her to. But anyway, I think she's going to be going out there as well. And she says she's planning a trip to Ohio if she can get her bosses to let her do it, to go and get some information about this case. She's like, I promise you, if I go to Ohio, I can get some information. I was like, oh, you go, girl. You go on down there to Ohio and bring back the business. It was in her video that I watched. Okay, let me pull up the page here. Again, if one of you mods, you got Lauren's YouTube, there you got. Thank you, Simi. And her X account, Lauren Conlon on X. Okay. So she says, scoop. I spoke with DoorDash, who confirmed the following about Gary Siders Jr., and they would like the record to reflect that Siders Jr. completed only 5 deliveries between late July and August of 2024, with no account activity since. 5 deliveries from July to August. Folks, I believe Gary Siders Jr. is a lazy motherfucker. No other members of the Siders family held a Dasher or a consumer account. So nobody was delivering and nobody was ordering. There is nothing in the records indicating that his brief and limited activity as a Dasher bears any relationship to the allegations in the case. Siders was never employed by DoorDash, as Dashers are independent contractors, not employees. Yes, that's true. So that, people are wondering, did he currently DoorDash? Is that what did he do that for a living? How could he DoorDash and not bring them babies food home? Gary didn't do a whole lot of nothing but knock up his lady. Apparently, Gary only knew how to do one thing. Like she had some other post. Oh, this was the motion for the gag. Okay, so yeah, I already have that. We already got that. Now there is an article out there too with a really good timeline about a few things that we didn't really know about yet that are pinned in there. What did I say? I pinned stuff into folders and I got that on my brain. Faye, I followed the case all the way. I haven't followed lately what's up. I went to look for those documents and I don't know that I can view those documents, so I need to get the documents, right? I like to read from the document. I don't like secondhand information from what a document said. I want to see it with my own eyes. And so see if y'all can get me the links or get the latest documents if y'all have them and get them to me. That would be great. Because I know she's been covering Rock has been covering it. I met her way back in the day in another community. But I know she's been covering it, and I got curious when you guys were talking about Tad's latest bullshit. So we need the document, though. I need to look up some other information about it and see if I can find some other reports too. Wait, never mind. We'll get back to him in a little while. But yeah, did she post them? Where did she post them? Let me know where she's got them posted. And you can find me on Discord or email me, saltysleuth@gmail.com. I love when people share documents. Butterfly, 15 months. Yay. Didn't we just had Forrest the other day? And then we got you for 15 months. Thank you. Thank you for being here with me. Just like you and Forrest have been with me for so long. And I, not just as mods, y'all are my friends, right? And I appreciate y'all. So thank you, honey. You get some rest. Have a good night. And thanks for coming in when you had some free time and spending it with us. We've missed you. We all do. You're here in spirit every time. All right, guys. Her days are so full now. Okay. What is this? Hang on, guys. Okay, I don't know what this is. Let's watch it. They may have found some more documents. This is on the Siders case. It's a new report from WLWT 3 hours ago. They were showing some documents. Let me see.
Investigating is uncovering.
Hey, while this plays, let me see. I need to go. Well, no, I was gonna take my phone with me and listen, but I can't multitask. I want to hear this. I'm gonna stay right here. I'll do that in a minute. Here we go.
New details about the parents and grandparents accused of endangering those 16 kids out in Vinton County.
Yeah, living in just horrific conditions. Tonight, court records that we obtained show the family had prior contact with the legal system out there in Gallia County. And WLWT News 5 investigative reporter Karen Johnson here now to explain for us. Hi, Karen.
Hey, Mike. You know, these Gallia County court records show concerns involving the Siders family were documented back in 2021 when several children were accused of chronic truancy and the parents were accused of failing to send them to school, raising even more questions about how this family somehow fell off the radar. Long before the criminal case now unfolding in Vinton County, there were already signs of trouble. WLWT investigates obtained court records from neighboring Gallia County.
That one says versus Elizabeth. The truancy stuff we read was against Gary. Cheshire, Ohio. What is this one?
County involving the Siders family that centers around school attendance issues for some.
Adaville Elementary.
Some of the children. In complaint after complaint filed in October of 2021, an attendance officer for Gallia County local schools alleged 6 Siders children who were between 7 and 13 years old at the time were chronically absent. Documents state the kids were absent from school without legitimate excuse for the entire year.
So 6 of those kids had been enrolled in school and then stopped going to school. 7 to 13 in age.
Up until that point.
So some of them can read and write, obviously, if they went to school for at least a couple years. They got some ability to some extent.
Court complaints were also filed against the parents, Gary and Elizabeth Siders, alleging they failed to send the children to school as required by law. The address is listed repeatedly in those records. Honeysuckle Drive in Cheshire, Ohio. But the cases did not move forward. Docket entries show summonses were returned marked vacant house. By January of 2022, the cases were terminated because the family could not be located.
Okay, hold on, because the family could not be located. 2022. 4 years ago, before they moved. Were the grandparents sick at this time or were they not? Because that's going to make a difference in my judgment call. The grandbabies aren't attending school. We need to move suddenly, now. See, got questions. We don't know, y'all. Oh, come on. You better play without me having to get ridiculous with you. How come it does that sometimes, y'all, when I stop and talk and it doesn't want to work? Sometimes it catches up and does it. Oh, my shoulder. All right, I have to take it down and start it over. Hang on. Oh, that won't work either. There. Something went crazy for a second, y'all. Sorry. It just makes you wonder, this timeline on when, trying to clock that timeline, right? On when all this, so that because we've heard they live right now at the Omar Street location. They've been there about 4 years. And those documents we just were seeing were from 4 years ago. So right before they moved. Huh. Interesting. They moved to avoid truancy orders on these kids. Is that what it was? Where's my hit? Where did it go? Where did the damn video go? Hold on. I'm gonna watch history here because we just watched it. Okay, we're gonna check this out in a minute. Hold on. Asshole. Shit. Okay. Sorry. Oh God. Man, I knew that was happening, but what is this? Is he popping off everywhere all of a sudden? Lord have mercy. It takes all kinds of kinds. That's all I'm gonna say at this moment. All right. I'll share with y'all in a minute what I'm talking about. Faye, thank you. I need to make some coffee, Faye. You know, I didn't make any before the stream. I felt kind of coffeeed out. I should have made myself a big cold coffee. Faye, I've been on my cold coffee kick. I should have made me a big old cold coffee. Note to self. Next time, make my cold coffee. Okay, here's the video. Okay. Get it back up. Get it back up. Get it together, girl.
As required by law. The address is listed repeatedly in those records, Honeysuckle Drive in Cheshire, Ohio. But the cases did not move forward. Docket entries show summonses were returned, marked vacant house. By January of 2022, the cases were terminated because the family could not be located. Now, years later, the family is at the center of a much more serious case in Vinton County, where investigators say 16 children were found living in severe filth, spending most of their time in a 12 by 12 foot room. On Monday, during a meeting of the Ohio Controlling Board,
I've never seen anything like this.
State leaders acknowledged this case points to bigger systemic problems.
Oh. I do think that as we go through and do our investigations and we talk to these kids and we really start looking at things, we'll have a much better sense.
A systemic problem. Yeah, but society don't want those conversations, sir. That's not surface level anymore. That's deep. Gives me chills and I gotta go, right? But maybe it's time.
About how we can certainly improve the system.
And a state rep from Vinton County told lawmakers Monday they need to communicate better, saying it was hard to understand how the family slipped through the cracks, though he said
they need to communicate better. Holy shit, it takes something like that for y'all to realize that in 2026, that our communication may not be the best. Kids have slipped through the cracks all over the country, believe it or not. I don't know what to tell these people to get these agencies together and how to correct the loopholes. And when that one person's going to say, wait a minute, this is a red flag, y'all. But what can where does the school board say, well, we sent our notices to the county. They're not coming to school. We filed what we were told to do. Legally, we filed what we got to file. Y'all got to find these people, not us. We're the fucking school. We're trying to run a school here. You need to go find these people, right? Jesus, it's going to go back and forth. They need to fix it, though. This stuff shouldn't fall through the cracks anymore. Children should never fall between the cracks. Children should never have to live in those kind of conditions, no matter what caused those conditions. Stinks so bad, you got to Lysol the whole store. When you see them coming, while they're in there and while they're leaving. Jesus Christ. I could not. My son and my sister have these like bionic noses. They can sniff out a scent like nobody's business. Those two would have died in that store. They would not have been able to survive it. They would have smelled them coming, I promise you. You'd have been like, what are you talking about? They're like, it's coming, wait. Oh, man. Okay, let's see what I had here. Oh, don't snatch my cord. Sorry, guys. Was it this one? Yeah. This is it. Let me make sure this is the one with the right information, that the newer information that we don't know about, that we hadn't heard too much about yet. Was it there? Well, I think we might have just saw some of this in that news broadcast we just watched. Okay, I'll pull this up and show you guys what I'm looking at. It's a timeline from NBC4 out there in Ohio. Okay. And a lot of it we do know. In 2008, they were married. She was 15. He was 18. Now, there's a photo out there of the trailer park they lived in. This nice, clean trailer park out there. There's like, I think they were like 2 to 4 trailers apart. There's like discrepancy. I think the brother said two houses down. So that's out there on Facebook. At the time of the marriage, she had an 8th grade education and Gary had a 9th grade education. 2 months later, we know she gave birth to their first child, and that was I'm assuming the 18-year-old girl. Birth records show the girl was born in Ohio at Gallia County Hospital. Records show Elizabeth had moved to Gallipolis, I don't know how you say that word, Gallipolis home Gary Jr. was living in when the two were wed. All right. So if they live 2 houses down and she gets married, does she just move 2 houses down, or they all just pack up and leave the whole trailer park and went somewhere else? August 9th through 2016, Elizabeth and Gary had their second daughter in Gallia County Hospital, according to birth records. So the first 2 were born in the same county hospital. Records show the couple moved to rural Gallia County home about 15 miles north of Gallipolis by the time their second child's birth. Birth records from August of 2009 through May of 2016 all listed the same address, indicating the Siders likely lived there for about 7 years. So from 2009 till 2016 in the same location. How was life living there? During this period, Elizabeth gave birth to daughters in March of 2011, March 2012, May 2013, and May of 2016, and gave birth to a son in September of 2014. So we'll keep it in order. 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2016. All 5 children were born in Gallia County Hospital. They must have the records, y'all. Did the doctor she ever saw suggest her birth control? She can't be forced to take it. It's America. We can't force her. But she can be educated on it all day long and be told about it all day long. Whether or not she chooses to do it, it's going to be slap up to her and him come tonight, ain't it? The address falls within Gallia County local schools. A representative for the district said they cannot comment on students' educational records when asked if the Siders' children attended the district or were listed in district homeschooling records. 2017, Gary Jr. was cited for driving without a booster seat, to which he pled guilty and paid a $165 fine. A traffic violation lists a new home in a Gallipolis as his address. So they moved in 2017 to this new place where he got a ticket for not having one of the kids in a booster seat. In October of 2017, Gary Jr. and Elizabeth had another daughter in Gallia County Hospital. Okay, so another county hospital birth. Birth records list a new address in Gallia County different from the address listed in 2017 traffic stop. Oh, so they didn't. That's 2 different addresses in 2017 then. By the time she has the baby in between the stops, they've done moved. Birth records and county auditor records differ on which community the home falls under. The address appears to be within Gallipolis City Schools, but the superintendent said the district had no records pertaining to the Siders children, but if they had, they would be protected by student privacy laws. No, we don't get no protection at the moment. Everybody's under scrutiny at the minute. Everybody's under scrutiny, and we need to do some transparency. Haven't y'all heard, sirs? People began screaming transparency a few decades and elections ago, if I remember correctly. Yeah, transparency would be fucking nice. Like, is that one dude really dead or not? I don't know anymore. 2019 and 2020. In October of 2019, Elizabeth gave birth to a son in the county hospital. Birth records reflect another new address. Damn. So did they always live with the granny and pawpaw, right? Were they ever on their own in a house? Were they ever able to pay a bill by themselves? Did they always live with granny and pawpaw? Or was this just moving around until we moved to granny and pawpaws? I don't know. Did they just move in with granny and pawpaw 4 years ago? Gary, mom and daddy need help. They can't get along anymore. None of us daughters can take care of them. Well, hell, me and Elizabeth's got it. Don't worry. We'll move in with all the youngins. I don't know. In September of 2020, Elizabeth gave birth to another daughter in the county hospital again. Birth records reflect a new home in the Cheshire, about 7 miles up the Ohio River from Gallipolis. So they moved from there to Cheshire then. Okay. Some of those records we just saw in that video were from that city, town, jurisdiction, whatever. 2022, court records indicate 2 of the 16 children rescued were twins born in the same day in February. However, NBC was only able to obtain birth certificate for one of the 2, a boy born at the hospital in the county. What? Okay, one of the twins. The address listed on the birth certificate is in Bloomer, Wisconsin. Property records list the address as a miscellaneous agricultural property with a residential structure. So they only lived in Wisconsin then, would be between 2022. This little boy was born in Gallia County. But the address on the birth certificate was Bloomer, Wisconsin. But he was born in Ohio, at the same place the other ones were born. The fuck? Property records list the address as a miscellaneous agricultural property without a residential structure. So they just they lie and make up an address, y'all? What the hell? Oh, Lord, we got to do research. In November 2022, birth and death records show Elizabeth gave birth to the conjoined twins, Faith and Bailey. We reported on that. Those are the 2 that were born at 24 weeks and passed away. Records show the twins died of natural causes within an hour of being born. The records for the twins list the same Cheshire address as the birth record in September of 2020. They knew, they were aware. They had some awareness that what they were doing was not acceptable in society, to neglect your children. Because they're kind of lying about where we live and where we know this record's going to, because he noticed the years on them, right? In 2022, the records Elizabeth gave to the conjoined twins was in a Columbus hospital. It says here the Cheshire, Ohio address with the records from 2020. So there's a different, remember the Wisconsin farm shit? What's going on there? 2024 and 2025. So in January, Elizabeth gave birth to 2 twins, a boy and a girl. And plus, you go with the fact they're keeping the kids out of school. Is it too hard to bathe them and send them to school? At least if you send them to school, guess what? They're getting a breakfast, they're getting a lunch and an education, and you get a break, mama, and can clean the house and tend to the littles. Daddy, get your ass out there and go to work while I do all this, please. I'll meet you back up here for supper tonight. Put these babies to bed. We can meet up in the living room and, use protection next time. I don't know. If they were just picking an address, yeah, who knows, Rachel, with that Wisconsin address, what that even means, right? If they just picked it out of willy-nilly or they knew of it, who knows? Something tells me they may not have ever really lived there, and they did. It was like for a minute. So in 2024, she gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl, in Athens County Hospital. So now she's at a different hospital. Records list the same Cheshire, Ohio address in the birth records. The home is also Galilea County School District. 1 year later, in 2025, she gave birth to twin boys in the Athens County Hospital. Birth records list a new... So this is proven, y'all, she's the mama to all the kids. At least 90% of them that we know of. Then, people's witnessed her giving birth, right? It's not a doubt, but no doubt about it. Benton County Schools said they did not have enrollment or homeschooling records related to these children. May 2026. Gary allegedly exposed himself on 4 dates to victims not within his household, which don't make any sense with all that's going on. I can't help it. I got PTSD from these streets, y'all. Bear with me through some of it. I worked through it. Also, June 30th, law enforcement removed the children. July, we know that's the part. So 2 of them were flown to the trauma centers. On July 7th, Siders Sr. was hospitalized. We know that, in the serious condition, all that. If he gets released, he has to get on the GPS monitor. So we're caught up to date on that timeline. But that gave us a good timeline on some more of these children's and their births, right? And the documentation that people were obtaining on the kids, looking up their births. And we appreciate them, right? Oh, shit. I dropped my headset off my head. I was trying to adjust my hair. My fan's on low over there and it blew it in my face when I turned, and I don't like that. It's annoying. All right, my struggle's real. There's just a lot to be learned, a lot to still learn about this case. You know what I mean, guys? A lot. Can y'all walk and talk amongst yourselves for a moment while I take a break and run to the restroom real quick? If I put this video up, I feel like I should turn the volume down on it and let it just be on loop, because it's going to be silent, but it may be annoying to hear this little music for a minute until I come back. I need to take a break, Simi. I got to go grab a drink and run to the bathroom real quick. And then I want to review something I just saw a few minutes ago. Let's see what else we just sit here and talk about. We all had those thoughts, Kelly. We did. We speculated that here. Was she the mother to all of the children? Were any of the children mothers to the children? Who was the fathers to the children, right? Paul, what you doing? All of that. You know what? Hang on, Simi. Let's do that. Let's pull up a Simi song. Hang on, Simi. This is the one you redid, right? Hold on a minute. 1 minute, guys. I gotta grab that link, Simi. Hold on. That link you have in chat is like a link to set up. It's not the one that I had. I gotta go get a different one that's got the video or the song. Didn't I make? Where's that one I did? Hold on. See, I done lost my shit, y'all. I done lost my shit. Um, I think it's here. Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can get. I forgot I can't do it like this with stupid ass Discord. Jeez. Never mind. Never mind, Simi. I just got to do. I have to record it and do it because this is not going to work. Now I got to get this to fix where I can see you guys again. Let me get that out of the way. Let me see if I can get that link, Simi. If I can grab it and make it work back here for me on this end without the way I usually do things. All right, look, because I clicked it a minute ago, it didn't want to work right for me back here to play. Yeah, Simi, when I click that link, it just wants me to make a song. So, did you send it in Discord? Well, if I go to Discord, I have to do it a different way. Hang on. Let me go do it on my phone and add it to my thing because that's not going to work for me. But it's you can't pull up shit from Discord back here on Restream and have it work right. And don't do it, but I can do it this way, I think. I don't know what it is, Simi. It's not working. So y'all just have to walk and talk. Y'all just have to walk and talk because I got to run for a second. I'll be back in just a moment and we'll review something else here. And y'all click the link and y'all enjoy Simi's music. I'm going to make a video, Simi. I promise. I'll do that later on tonight when I'm just chilling out. All right, guys. I'll be right back. Just give me a moment, please. All right, thank you guys. Thank you. Yes, gently remind me to load my song, Rachel. Just do it. Ah, it is. I couldn't get the link to work or load right, Simi. I'll do my thing. I'll get it straight. All right, guys. This. Remember the other night, Monday night, we were talking about all we were talking about. If y'all watched that episode or show, whatever stream, um, we're talking about the fuckery that happened in the Sebastian Rogers case. Hold on. Let me make sure I added it. Okay, so there's two. This one's the same station. They're both like 8 minutes long. Okay. All right, so it looks like. Remember when I reported about Sebastian's dad suing the county, suing the sheriff's department or whoever he's suing? Let's see. This just aired. Let's see, when did this air? 3 hours ago. Sebastian Rogers. Remember the lady up on Alex's panel? Didn't remember his name? That Rogers kid? Hadn't forgot about you, lady. It's sad. This is him. Sebastian Rogers' father has filed lawsuit. Dad sues sheriff, the state agency, and a state agency over Tennessee teen's disappearance. So I have no dog in this hunt, guys. The shit show continues on YouTube. Unfortunately, I've said my piece. I've dropped some knowledge about some of the backstory, and I heard that last night over on Kick, I was kind of like talked about because I'm not new to this game. I knew very well any comment I made in Jay's chat or nonsense chat was going to be seen by said players. But I said what I said. And no, I did not run to Kick to evaluate what was said about me. And I didn't get triggered and want to run live and talk about it because I don't fucking care. I wasn't a part of all that fuckery because I knew better and stepped away and went, okay, y'all have at it. And look, all this time it's still going on. I was more concerned about what happened to this child. So let's see what Seth's lawsuit's got to say for itself. And I don't even want to get into this argument about Seth versus Katie bullshit. If you know, you know. All right, so I guess we're going to listen to what he has to say here. I can hope for some transparency in finding Sebastian. The only thing I want to know is what would y'all do in the investigation? Right? Got to keep it close to the chest. Can't give y'all all the information. I don't think they have a lot of information. I don't know if this falls squarely on their failures. I don't know what to think because we haven't got to see anything. We know about grid searches and everything they did do. They looked into the walls, into the house where Sebastian lived. I think they may have done their due diligence. I don't know where the failure falls with these missing cases who were never found, right? I don't know where to point the finger as to who made the first mistake. Kind of like the Guthrie case, where was that first mistake made? We can all, you know how it goes. Yeah, they're both parents who lost a child. But the thing about this case, Rachel, is it got as crazy as it did, partly because of Seth Rogers. It's his fault. He came out on social media and he shared way too much information about his missing 15-year-old boy. Personal information that never needed to be shared. Never in a million years needed to be public knowledge. But Seth thought it was A-okay to come do all of that and go full on attack his ex-wife and accuse her of murder, kidnapping, whatever, on the internet, and 1,000 more people just bought into it all, and boom, 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 here we are today. Seth Rogers also went on Nancy Grace after complaining about his shoulder injury and showing us all how bad it hurt, how he couldn't really search for Sebastian, got put on his muscle relaxers, Flexeril to be exact, and how he fell asleep on Nancy Grace during a fucking lie detector test. I don't got much compassion for this man except he lost his child. He sure caused a bunch of fuckery in his own child's disappearance case.
In 2 years, the disappearance of 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers has remained one of Tennessee's most enduring mysteries. Despite one of the largest missing child searches in state history, there have still been no arrests, no suspects identified, and few answers. Now, Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, is filing a federal lawsuit accusing the Sumner County Sheriff's Office of failing to properly investigate his son's disappearance. Rogers agreed to sit down and talk to me exclusively. And here in our extended conversation, we talked about the son he misses every day.
This is Sebastian Rogers, guys. I'm sure he looks a little different now. He's older.
The emotional toll of living without answers, his frustration with the investigation, and why he believes the search for Sebastian is far from over. We began with a simple question: how has he managed the weight of the past 2.5 years?
People say I'm strong and I got a lot of patience. People say that, but they have no idea. Being strong, I'm not strong. I'm just determined to find my son. Strength has nothing to do with it. The weight of the world that I feel on my shoulders every day, unless you've been in the situation of your child missing and not knowing where he's at, you don't have any clue.
Tell me about Sebastian.
He's my...
You know what really happened, though, honestly? Kind of like with Steve Gonzalez, they fell into a trap, these families. Social media armchair detectives seem to know more than the cops. Armchair detectives are pulling up this and pulling up that, and they're saying this and they're saying that. It happened in the Idaho 4 case with the Gonzalez family. It happened here in the Sebastian Rogers case. Kresha talks about it, guys. These families get thrust into a spotlight all of a sudden. Are we not paying attention? Think Seth's guilty of what? Taking his kid? Like, this guy's smart enough to pull all that off for all this time? Seriously? No offense, Carrie, but I mean, the people who think Seth kidnapped his child, really? Because I don't know what he would have done with him, but he never reached out to his kid ever again, or the person he had him stashed away with, ever, never made contact again. Sebastian didn't one day go, hey, I'm sick of this shit. Dad promised this wasn't going to last long. I want out. Never. We got to think about things. Katie was able to pull off unaliving her child and somehow getting her car onboard electronic system to lie for her. She hid him so well that he was never found within the home anywhere, under it, on top of it, inside the walls. Yeah, neither one of these parents, in my opinion, did a damn thing. And a lot of people got tunnel vision because it had to be one of these parents. It just had to be. Meanwhile, Sebastian Rogers is still missing, and I don't know who the fuck took him.
Saving grace. Before him, I was probably heading down the wrong path in life. And then I had a child. It was like God gave me a purpose in life. And he still is. I just gotta find him.
From your heart, what do you need?
And Webb Sluice was no better. She paneled this bullshit. She paneled Heather, his little private investigator that we read about in the document. Yeah, this messy old bat in the hat, here for the drama. No, here for the victims. Which is it, lady?
My son home. I need my son home. There's nothing else. My goal is, from the very beginning, is to find my son. and it will continue to be the goal until he is found. There is no other.
February 26th, 2024.
I know the history, Carrie, and all them YouTubers are living large right now, fighting amongst herself, aren't they? Aren't they? Right? They're still out there doing streams about each other and going at it with one another, all because of this stuff. This man did not help it. Anybody would platform him, he platformed. Hell, Chris Proudfoot was no different, the stepfather. Sides were drawn. You either got to support Seth or you got to support Chris and Katie. You just gotta.
How do you learn Sebastian is missing?
I got off of work at 7. We're not allowed to have cell phones. When I get to my truck, I got a text message saying 911, so I called the stepfather, and
oh my
that's
God.
when he tells me Sebastian's missing.
When you get to Hendersonville, what do you first see?
So there's police.
This man let us know how jealous he was of Christopher Proudfoot and the fact that he was with Katie now. We didn't care about all your jealousies. Didn't care, didn't even need to know any of it. It's got to do with the damn thing.
And there's like tracking dogs, and there's just a bunch of people walking around in the yard, in and out of the house.
Oh God, there he goes.
And then I walk into the house, and I walk to his room.
His room is the first place you go.
Yeah. I want to see what his room looks like.
Why was that important to you?
It's the last place he supposedly was. What's going on in the room states.
That's natural instinct to go straight to the room. I would have done that. No, get out of my way. Everybody fucking move. My child's gone. I'm going to that bedroom and look with my own eyes. Now, Seth has stated from the beginning that there are people in and out of that house. The house was full by the time he got there. Should that have happened? No, absolutely not. The second Katie started calling the cops, riding around in her truck looking for Sebastian, and got back to that house and met the first cop there, nobody should have entered that house. But they did. And I don't know what that means. Lost evidence, tripod on evidence, you know what I mean? All the things now. Not securing the scene, you know. I don't know how that would have, I don't know what that meant for the investigation part.
What I need to look for.
Did anything seem off?
A couple things seemed off. I don't know why, his switch is on the floor plugged into the wall. The closet's a mess. There's things all over the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't seem right.
This has been...
Closet's a mess and things are all over the floor. It didn't seem right. I wonder why. I got teenage boys. They're give me messy Marvins all day and twice on Sunday. But was Sebastian looking for something before he left? He didn't take much with him from what we've heard. Barefooted, a flashlight, a pocket flashlight, no shoes.
Described as the largest search for a missing child in Tennessee history. Did you think a search that big would find at least one clue?
Would have been nice. How can you have 7 different agencies and hundreds of people working on stuff and not find any speck of evidence that he was there?
People don't just vanish into thin air.
No, they don't.
The idea Sebastian
Yeah, they
just
do.
walked away from the home without his phone never made sense to you.
No, sir.
Why not?
Because it's not my son. It's not something that...
When somebody walks away and he didn't take his phone, you have to wonder, was that on purpose? Because I just feel like there could have been somebody saying to him, hey, but you would think there would be evidence on the damn phone left behind. That's what's always stumped me about this case, is if I go down a road where a predator got to him and lured him out of the house, how did they communicate? If not on the phone, it had to be on a video game. Where's the evidence that ever happened? We've never seen it. Cops don't say that happened. FBI doesn't talk about no. Just We got some devices. There was a lot of discrepancy if this boy had access to online. Could he play games? Did he not? Both parents told you different things. Turns out Sebastian did have some access to the Xbox or whatever it was him and Seth did, PlayStation, Xbox, one of the two. There was accounts. But I always wondered if that boy left that phone behind, and if he did leave that house because somebody said, hey, because Sebastian was having some issues at home, I can make this better, come with me, and leave everything, including that phone. Where was that communication, right? There had to be a communication between him and somebody, unless my other thought was, because I know it lived 4 miles away that always bothered me, did he meet somebody in the neighborhood wandering around like boys will do? We heard he didn't like to go outside, all these things. We don't fucking know. We are not there. Every single day he stayed in the house? Every day? Did he befriend somebody from the school? There's just a lot of questions, right? And then there's holes in things too. No, he wasn't into social media like that, Happy, but he did have video game accounts, which would have given him the opportunity to talk to strangers on the internet. And as far as the phone goes, I never knew, I always wondered, did somebody reach out to him and communicate? Like, he's 15 and he may have given his phone number to somebody, right? Was there a text, something of that nature? Not like what it was, Sebastian had a YouTube channel, y'all. Madeline Soto had a YouTube channel. So we don't know, but I've always wondered about the devices, because that's going to let me know if he ever communicated with strangers online, and can they recover those types of messages, right? On the Roblox or whatever they're playing, or however they're communicating. I don't know. We've not heard anything about that. No leads on that.
I could envision him doing. I've stated this before, that for him to leave that house without his shoes, without a coat, without his backpack, without Legos in his pocket, taking his Switch or grabbing his phone, he would have had to been running. Somebody's in the house and he's trying to get away.
Not necessarily. So Seth's theory is somebody was in the house and he ran? Possibly? I don't know. I've listened to them both, Kelly. I've listened to them both. My God, I've listened too much at times, probably. I got my own assessment on this child's abilities, and you got to take both parents with a grain of salt. I never felt Katie was portraying him as a 10-year-old, but she was trying to be honest about her child's abilities, and I think some people took high offense to that. Seth wanted to pretend he did a lot of things. I don't even have, I can't with Seth. I saw the man high as a kite on panels, man. Right? I can't. So Sebastian wasn't a 10-year-old at heart or mentally. He was a 15-year-old boy, but he was behind to extents, right? He had chromosomal deletion condition as well. All the things. Yeah, I know Roblox is known for predators, and we know. I hope all the parents know by now. That's why I get concerns, Carrie, when they say this boy, who took this child. We have to open our minds to all the possibilities. And we all know there's issues with the Roblox and things of that nature, don't we? So can we not wrap our head around that Sebastian Rogers could have been a victim to one of those predators? No, it had to be one of the parents, right? That's what they do on the internet. If you go watch a lot of these places, they're going to tell you all that. I don't know what to tell them.
Investigators at the home when you arrived inside.
Yeah, there was an investigator sitting at the dining room table.
Was he talking to anyone?
Nope. Was he just sitting there?
Just sitting there?
Yep.
Not looking at anything?
Nope.
Was the home secured like a crime scene?
I walked in and nobody even asked me who I was.
You were just free to walk through the home?
I was free to walk anywhere.
In the first few days, how difficult was that for you to see what is unfolding?
I was searching for my son.
You just couldn't sit around and wait for an answer.
I've put over 100,000 miles on my truck, going down any rabbit hole I can find, any tip that happens to come in.
Why does that fall on you?
It falls on me because I don't believe anybody else is doing it.
But that should be the job of the lead investigative agency, the sheriff's office.
Simi, if you don't know much, be careful. You're going to hear a lot of things that are sus about each parent. I promise y'all, if y'all got any real questions, please ask me. Please. I'll tell you the damn truth. Nothing I've seen since this child disappeared, and watching all the creators and their wild ass theories and both sets of parents go berserk on the internet, I still don't think either one of them did a damn thing to this child. So, y'all be careful on them YouTube streets, y'all. They're just now starting to remind everybody, yeah, this really was about a missing child.
Should be.
Do you believe they failed your son?
I believe they have.
Do you believe they failed you?
I know they have. Because it's 2.5 years and there's no nothing. They won't even do a press conference. And when they did do a press conference, they didn't even have a picture of my son up.
Now, this part with these families, I can absolutely feel for them. Because the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations and the Sumner County Police Department wanted this to go away. I don't know why. Not really go away. They didn't want the eyes on them kind of thing. It's our investigation. We got to keep it close to they don't know shit. And they don't want to say it. I don't know why they don't know nothing. But I began to question TBI heavily in the beginning of this case, and I got met with so much pushback. They're investigating it. It's got to stay close to the chest. I got so sick of hearing that. Like, I know I'm not new to this rodeo, but damn it, man. I got questions for the TBI. Sorry, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. That's how deep I was in this case. I was in deep with Sebastian Rogers, not the drama, but he went missing a day apart from Madeline Soto. We were looking for both those children. And some of us never lost sight of what we were looking for.
How can you not have a picture of the missing child so people know who you're looking for? That does not make sense.
At first, did you have faith they would find him?
Yeah. I have no faith now.
When did that faith begin to fade?
When they started not telling me any information.
When did you stop waiting for answers and start questioning the investigation?
Wait. That's kind of your fault. That part's on you. You came out and started war with them and said some shit. Remember, Seth? So they did stop communicating with you. To an extent there. From what we hear, they got that right.
Probably within a month. When they kept telling me if I had a child missing, this is the detective that I want on the case. And when that detective doesn't answer phone calls and tells me he only wants to deal with text messages.
Oh.
I'm sorry, text messages are very impersonal.
Wait. What? Who told you that, Seth? Which one of them assholes said that? Maybe they didn't want to talk to Seth anymore, but that's kind of weird. Don't call, just text. No, asshole, I'm a caller and I don't like to text. That's in print.
The sheriff's office started to ignore you.
Yes. They don't want to answer questions. I think they should be answering questions.
They should answer your questions because you are his father.
Correct. But at the same point in time, I don't think they put any effort in finding my son anymore.
Has that silence or lack of communication
says a lot. It says a lot when they won't speak to me. To me, it says that they know that they screwed the pooch.
That silence lets you know in your heart they didn't do their job right.
Correct.
Since the ground search ended, one press conference, one detective on the case, no reward, 18 months of silence. What does that tell you about how much the sheriff's office cares about your son?
They don't care about him at all.
In the past, you have said the Sumner County Sheriff.
You know, we had a video surface out of Sumner County a while back with the sheriff. This little autistic boy went missing, and at that point, there had been like a couple of back-to-back drownings of autistic kids in the water. And those cases are so horrific. We all know they're drawn to the water. We keep hearing that. It was in Tennessee there, Sumner County area. The little boy goes missing, and when they get they had the helicopter, the infrared. The sheriff of Sumner County is the one that found that little boy. The little boy was standing in the middle of the water, just standing there. It's on video. He just runs out there. When he grabs that child, the relief on that man, right? I have a hard time believing they don't care about Sebastian. Doesn't mean I agree with the full investigation was done correctly or not. That's a different story.
Sheriff's Office should step aside and let the FBI take over this case. Why hasn't that happened?
The interview just occurred. This just aired a couple of hours ago there. We mentioned this, I think, Monday night in my show that he was suing. I want to get my hands on the document actually and read it because I'm interested. But yes, this aired a couple of hours ago on the local station there. I'll tell you in just a second.
My personal opinion is ego. And they don't appreciate that. There shouldn't be ego involved. There should just be urgency. Urgency to find the missing child. Ego should never step in when it comes to a professional job.
If there's any way possible, Sebastian is able to see this, you and I speaking, what would you want him to know?
I love you, son, and I am looking for you, and I won't stop until I find you. I don't know if he's got a pillow. I don't know if his belly's full. I don't know if he's got clothes. I don't know if he's got shoes. I don't know if he's being taken care of. And all these things hurt. All of them.
This was on WSMV 4 hours ago, guys. Let me see. I'll drop the link in the chat.
I'm hurt. I don't know what's going on with my child. I just know that he's not where he should be.
Do you believe Sebastian's still alive?
Every day. No evidence otherwise. I don't understand how people can think that he's deceased.
You need your son to be alive.
I need my son found. There's no room in it for him to be deceased. He's alive. He's just lost.
Okay. Hang on one second. Let me grab that. I'll have to see if we can get that document. It's a lawsuit. Let's see. If I can get this to come in here like this, yeah. That should be the link, guys. Yeah, you didn't know this happened. It's just happening. So let me see real quick. Let me see. I wonder if it's filed in, I guess, Sumner County. So let's see. If they got a breakdown in here, I don't know if I can get the actual document yet. Let's see. No, get out of here. The lawsuit represent the first formal public legal accounting of how government agencies handled both Sebastian's welfare and his disappearance, could force the release of investigation records, internal communications, and sworn testimony that have never been made public. Oh boy. What happens next? Both lawsuits are now moving through federal court. We'll have to see if Andy can access these on Pacer, y'all. If these cases proceed, attorneys could seek investigative reports, internal communications, child welfare records, oh shit, and sworn depositions from law enforcement and DCF officials. For context, at the time of his disappearance, Sebastian Rogers was 15, with autism spectrum disorder, severe ADHD, and a rare chromosomal condition which required daily support. His became one of the most widely followed missing child cases in the country, drawing national media coverage, true crime podcasts, and thousands of volunteers. What Sebastian Rogers' mom described as gaping hole in her heart in an exclusive interview with WSMV4 nearly 2 years. I watched that. Katie did an interview. Proudfoot described feeling helpless in a 2024 interview. I'm looking to see if they have actual parts of the lawsuit embedded in the article. Sometimes they'll have a link to them, but if it's federal, I don't know, they just want to come out and tell you, here's what it said. I'm like, I'm cool with that, but I want to, what is this? Hang on, let me pull this up and we'll read this with the complaint alleges. Here we go. There's two. Lawsuit alleges DCS had warning signs. Okay, yeah, we'll start there. Okay. Get this up here. You guys can see it with me. Okay. Lawsuit alleges DCS had warning signs, unlike the sheriff's office complaint. This is a separate one, which argues investigators failed to pursue critical leads after Sebastian vanished. The DCS suit claims that the agency failed to take protective steps that could have prevented Sebastian's disappearance in the first place. Now, if y'all been around, y'all know there's a lot of mudslinging on these streets with some DCF reports in this case. For Rogers, that revelation had... Wait. The complaint alleges the agency already possessed warning signs about Sebastian's welfare, documented them in its own files, then closed 2 investigations without notifying his father. Is the father the one who opened the 2 investigations? Oh, because... For Rogers, that revelation has become one of the most painful parts of the case. Like, he didn't know that there was allegedly there were past complaints against the Proudfoots, his mother and stepfather, or something that went on in their household. That's all I'm going to say right now. Was that when Chris spanked him with the belt? Did that prompt one of the investigations or one of the claims? I don't remember how it went down. I have to go back and pull all that old shit up, honestly. The complaint alleges the agency already possessed the warning signs about his welfare, and that was documented in their own files. Okay. For Rogers, that revelation was painful. What did I do for him? What did I do for him not to tell me that he was scared, Rogers asked. I'm supposed to protect him, and I failed him. Rogers said he had no idea DCS had investigated allegations involving Sebastian in 2022 and 2023 until after his son disappeared. He said he learned the investigators existed only after hearing about them publicly and later obtaining the DCS records through his attorney. Well, that's a discrepancy of how those became about originally. He says, why wasn't I informed? He could have come to live with me. I'd have taken him in a heartbeat. Wasn't he scheduled to come live with you, Seth? Wasn't he? Because all this was going on at home? He was going to come live with you and go to a new school? He didn't want to, but he was going to. According to you, you had everything set up, right? Getting ready for that to take place? I'm confused. I don't know when he started. I don't know what the truth is anymore, sir. I have taken him in a heartbeat. No parent should have to get an attorney to get records from state agencies to find out what was already recorded. Because Sebastian had a problem at school. And I think they decided amongst themselves him to go try to live in with Seth for a little while and go to this other school. Sebastian really liked his school. Sebastian reported SA the lawsuit claims. Now, Seth wanted to put all this out there for the internet to know about a long time ago. According to the complaint, DCS first opened an investigation in September 22 after Sebastian disclosed to a school professional that he had been SA'd by another child while living in California. During that investigation, the lawsuit alleges DCS documented concerns Sebastian's home environment before closing the case in November 2022 without taking protective action. Wasn't that when he had a friend over? It was an older boy when this incident occurred. DCS opened 2 investigations before Sebastian's disappearance lawsuit. Now, stepfather was away at work when Sebastian disappeared. It's well documented. Everybody expected that he have time to get back and help Katie to get back to the job site. They have hammered it to death. Any way you can pick apart that to figure it out, they've tried. I promise. Chris Proudfoot was not in the state. Or was he in another state, right, working? He wasn't just out of town working. Wasn't it a whole other state? So that would have left Katie being the only one at home. And that was the last one to see her son. They dined they had the whole day. The colossal popcorn and all that was happening. They went to dinner. We've seen the video of that dinner. All the people that went from the restaurant got torn apart, highly scrutinized online. Could the abductor be in the background? I was looking while everybody was focusing on, look, Sebastian's eating so fast like he's never had a meal in his life. I'm like, that's a normal teenage boy sitting there eating that meal. I'm going to watch the background, look for a weirdo lurking. While y'all watch that boy eat and speculate about why he's eating fast. If you notice, he's not eating fast the entire time, but y'all do you. Oh, God. 8 months later, DCS opened a second investigation after receiving allegations that Sebastian's stepfather rather, Chris Proudfoot, had struck him in the stomach. The lawsuit claims Sebastian confirmed the incident to investigators and that his stepfather allegedly admitted striking him. Despite that, the complaint says DCS closed the investigation 3 days later, determining no additional services were needed. Approximately 9 months later, Sebastian disappeared. Chris Proudfoot's ex-wife, I don't know if she was calling CPS and stuff. I don't know if Seth was the one calling CPS here anonymously either. I wouldn't put it past him. He was so jealous. But because it could have been very well legitimate concerns, absolutely, the boy was SA'd. We know that now. We've known it for a long time. Seth put it all out there in a disgusting way one night on the internet. But does that mean his mom done something to him? The complaint relies heavily on DCS' own investigation records, arguing they show the agency had information suggesting Sebastian was a vulnerable child who required greater protection. Would his own father not know that? That he's vulnerable and needs greater protection? And did Sebastian never say, Dad, that stepdad of mine, man, could he have went to his dad without triggering Dad to go screaming and all the things? We don't see, there's a lot to unpack with this that Katie and Chris, y'all showed me y'all's dysfunction, says Seth. Y'all showed it all to me. I don't know that y'all were ever working together on behalf of the child. Ever. Either one of y'all. Among the allegations, the lawsuit claims, could y'all have drove him straight into the arms of a stranger? Among the allegations, the lawsuit claims DCS documented that Sebastian had said he felt safest with his father. It also alleges the agency determined Sebastian qualified for federal title, what was it? I can't remember the number. IV there, E, candidacy program. Designated. So the title programs usually are for a lot of the things with the school, right? Designated for children considered at serious or imminent risk of removal of their homes. Well, if he qualified for that kind of candidacy program by their own records, why are they shutting these cases out so quickly? Again, DCF letting kids fall through the cracks. See, I'm okay with a lawsuit. If it needs to get to the bottom of things, do it. If it's going to help them figure out what happened to Sebastian in the long run. The lawsuit argues those findings should have prompted additional protective action. What protective action? Removal from the home on grounds of what? When you only have one side of the story, there's no way to reach a reasonable conclusion, Richie said. Half the story leaves half the conclusion. Yeah, it does. It really does. It really, really does. Richie argues that had DCS involved Seth during its investigations, the outcome may have been different. Now, don't generally, if DCF gets a call and they go investigate a home, don't they typically find out if there are other parents involved, where those parents are, and try to interview them? Seth, you wasn't hard to find. You literally, you was working at the jail and shit. Katie knew where you were. She called you when your boy, or text you when your boy went missing, some shit. Everybody knew where he was. DCF never talked to him one time? Maybe not, if he wasn't involved in the allegations. But you'd think they'd want to talk to the father where the child goes sometimes. You know, has your son said anything funky to you? I don't know. It's hard to trust Seth Rogers, y'all. I've seen this messy man on the YouTube for far too long. He's not on there much anymore. He was recently. Him and Bullhorn Betty did a live together. The lawsuit alleges DCS violated, I told you who he runs with, right? He's out there with Bullhorn Betty. DCS violated Seth Rogers' constitutional rights by failing to notify him of either investigation. But also, Bullhorn goes hard that Katie did it. Katie and Chris did it, absolutely did it. Okay, Bullhorn, sit your ass down with your fake media passing your Bullhorn. You did enough fuckery. The other parents, by the way, had restraining orders against Bullhorn Betty, but Seth is out here doing lives with Bullhorn Betty. What's that tell y'all? Can't trust these fools. None of them. When the families start getting involved, we should pull away right then and go, okay, we're going to go stick to the facts as we know them. Because y'all could come out and spin it any way to make yourselves look better, right? We don't know y'all like that. We don't know you. You could be one of those narcissistic manipulators we continue to hear about trying to pull some tomfoolery on us. Garner our sympathies and empathies. We're red flagging all that from now on. What happens next? Both suits are now moving into federal court, where Rogers and his attorney hope the discovery process will force government agencies to publicly answer questions that they say have gone unanswered for nearly 2.5 years. If the cases proceed, attorneys could seek investigative reports, internal communications, emails, child welfare records, training materials, and sworn testimony from deputies, detectives, DCS employees, and other officials involved in Sebastian's case. Those records could provide the first detailed public look at decisions made before Sebastian disappeared and during the investigation that followed. Amen. I say bring that on. Whether the lawsuit immediate or ultimately succeed, however, will be decided in court, because for now, the allegations contained in both complaints remain just allegations. Oh, starting to yawn. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we know allegations innocent until all that mumble jumble. And neither suit alleges that Katie or Chris are legally responsible. And neither suit alleges that Katie or Chris are legally responsible for Sebastian's disappearance. Yeah, he knew. I bet he was advised not to go quite that far, sir. Don't do it, Seth. Instead, both lawsuits argue government agencies failed to meet their responsibilities. It's going dead ass after the agencies and not the other parents. I know they didn't do their job. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, so there's that, y'all. Maybe somewhere, somehow, we'll get to some information on the actual disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. And not discussing the court cases of the people who covered his case. And the he said, she said of it all. I guess they probably want me to go live and react to whatever they said about me on the kick, so then they can go back and react to that. And then I can go react to that. And no. Thank you. Gives me a headache. I want this lawsuit document, though. We're going to read that. We can get our hands on it. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up for the night. I thank y'all for coming and joining me and hanging out with me and getting crime updates on the cases we're following. Hoping we can find justice for these victims, these poor little souls out there in Ohio, these innocent children, no matter what was wrong with their wackadoodle parents. They didn't deserve to live like that. Poor little babies. Poor little ones. It is never ending, Faye. It just is. You know, in the beginning, people were there for it. I mean, I get it. But are we still there for it? I mean, I was in nonsense chat. I get it. But I couldn't handle it long. It just got boring after a minute. And I already knew all of it. So I just bailed out. No, I mean, take them all to school. Do what y'all got to do out there. I'm not throwing shade about people doing it all. I'm just saying I don't know when it's going to end. Right? I just don't know. That's not my business. I never got into any of all that to start with. So I'm staying up out of it, right? I just dropped some back knowledge on how they all hooked up a couple of key players, because I think they all didn't know about that. So I just enlightened a few, and because I did, I got I don't know. I don't know. We don't care. We're doing crime now. David's preliminary hearing will be coming up. Other things are going to be coming up we're tracking that we're trying to keep an eye on. So I'll try to bring those case updates tomorrow. I do plan to do a daytime show tomorrow. That's the plan for right now. So I'll see you guys at some point in the morning, probably late morning, and we'll get into some more updates and try to stay caught up on, the things we do know we have coming up that we're looking at. So, and then if we get any updates on stuff we're following, we'll bring it to you. All right, guys, y'all go have a great night, and I'll see you back here tomorrow, hopefully. If not, get us on the replay. We appreciate y'all. Mods, thank y'all for being here. All of y'all that come in and join the conversation, we love that. Thank you for being a part of it. Y'all, Do all the YouTubey thingies. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you all for watching this here.